Okay, so it's 1 minute past 9. I think we could slowly start. Our audience is rather, yeah, it should say not too large. So I think we could probably all introduce ourselves. First of all, I would like to introduce James, who is going to be my co-presenter today. James, can you say a few words about yourself?
Hello. So yes, I'm Georg's doctorate student, and yeah, I've been working with Georg on MaxScore. I'm also a violist, and I am a multimedia artist.
Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Thanks. Yeah, the other, I also wanted to introduce John McCallum, who is the workshop chair of the TENOR 2021 conference. This is actually our very first event, so I'm really totally excited and also I'm a little scared. Hope it's all going to go fine. So John, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, nice to meet you all. My name is John McCallum. I work at the HfMT with Georg and James, Rama, and so on. And yeah, happy to be here. Happy you all are here, and wishing Georg a good workshop.
Yeah. And I would like to introduce Xiao Fu. She's, I'm just going to go by the order of the tiles that I see in front of me. So Xiao, she is the organizer of the conference, amongst other things. So Xiao, your mic is muted.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy here, one part of the TENOR 2021. And yeah, I'm happy to hear.
And so I also wanted to say hello to Rama, our postdoc, and yeah, he's also going to be presenting during the next slot. I have to say that a lot what we're doing currently wouldn't be possible without his developments. So Rama, we're so totally indebted to you.
Oh, well, it's really nice to be here, and yeah, welcome everybody to TENOR 2021. I guess this is not the official introduction, but it's super exciting that we're finally all here together after the postponement of last year. And yeah, wishing everyone a happy workshop and conference. Thanks for all coming, being here.
So thanks, Rama. So I'm just going to skip ahead to Jonathan. Jonathan Bell has also been part of organizing this conference. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello. I'm also very happy to be here. It's been a great experience for me.
And I'm also seeing Aigerim Selova. Her video is hidden, but Aigerim, you probably can hear us.
Hello, I'm Aigerim Selova. I don't know why my connection is very bad right now, so I'm very happy that you're here and happy workshop.
Okay, and then we have a number of participants today. Would you like to introduce each other or yourselves? So let's start with Andreas Weixler and Sylvien.
Hi.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, very happy you make this TENOR, and it's so well organized in the beginning, and I enjoy to meet you all. We are in Austria at MDW Vienna and Bruckner University, and we run Atelier Avant Oster is our artist group. So we really enjoy this. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles, you would be next.
Hello, everybody. I'm speaking from Melbourne in Australia, and very happy to be involved, and strangely missing Hamburg too, because I lived there for 11 years as a musician when I was younger. So I can sort of imagine, even though we're all split up, I can sort of imagine it. So I'm looking forward to everything.
Thank you. So Michelle.
Hello, everybody. I've joined rather spontaneously from Basel here in Switzerland, and I'm working in a postdoc studies. I'm a musicologist working in postdoc studies about notation. And in the next project, I'm preparing something about interactions between technology and handwriting or different sorts of writings in the work of Earl Brown and then Kaya Sario, who in the 80s, so computers. So I was just, I'm getting into learning different softwares or looking around of how things are done. So I was just curious to look into the workshops. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for your participation. I want to welcome Jean Boisson also. Jean, how are you?
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to see you all.
So here's like the Jean is, so to speak, the overfather of this all, like the chair of the steering committee of tenor of the what is it, the organization? What's the official name for that?
The steering committee of the conference.
Okay, great, wonderful. So Lorenzo, you would be next on my screen here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lorenzo, and I'm a PhD student in the Hochschule for Musik and Theater Hamburg. I'm a composer. I compose also with electronic music, and I'm very curious to listen to this conference these days.
Okay, great. Thanks for participating. So Zina Fanizani is the next one.
Yes, hello. I'm Sina. I'm composer and guitarist. I'm study in Hamburg, and I'm very looking forward to. Very curious about the workshops and lectures. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for participating. And Masao Ono is also.
Yeah, hello.
Hello,
everyone. And
hello.
I'm from Vienna, and I'm composer, and of course, I'm really looking forward to this conference. Thank you.
Thank you for participating. And Korbinian Slavic would be the last down in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. So,
hi, I'm phonetician and musicologist and speaking from Munich. I'm also quite curious, and yes, we will see what I can take home from your workshop today.
I'm realizing, thank you, Corbinian. I'm realizing that there are more people. Josephine on the next screen.
Hello, so I'm Josephine. I'm from Paris and Bordeaux, and I'm a PhD student in informatics and musicology. So I thank you for organizing the TENOR 2021 conference, and I will present something this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that. Johanna has also joined.
Hi, my name is Johanna de Trooijer. I'm originally from Belgium, but I'm actually living in Hamburg. And I was enrolled as a student in the HfMT for contemporary performance and composition. And now I'm there doing the contact studium for new compositional techniques. And I'm a performer, I'm a saxophonist. I also compose, and I really like using alternative notation and stuff. So I'm also really looking forward to all the workshops this week. And I'm playing on the concert on Thursday, so be there because it's going to be really cool.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thanks, Johanna. So Greg is also a member of our team. Actually, is a fantastic team, I have to say. I didn't have to do anything, right? Really, almost. And so it was. So I want to introduce Greg Beller. Greg. Hello.
Yes. Hi guys. To welcome you all for the.
Greg, you're breaking up. Maybe we can. You have a weak connection, so I think we need to stop here, and I'm going to ask Christian Merkel to say a few words about himself.
For the conference.
Okay, Christian? Okay, and the last person here on the screen is Amir Teimouri. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello,
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Amir. Just a moment, I will not my camera, I think.
You're very soft.
Yeah, I'm Amir. I'm a composer and a music informatician from Karlsruhe, and I'm very excited about the conference this year.
Thank you very much. This is a very unique conference. Everyone is like participating from their homes. That's a very unique situation. But in certain ways, it's also has its advantages. Disadvantages certainly, but also its advantages. And I anticipate that future conferences will be a hybrid of like the old format and the online format, which in certain ways as I said before, has some real advantages. Yeah, okay, so I think we're ready to go. Today we're going to be talking about MaxScore. MaxScore has been around for quite some time. The very first version of MaxScore was released in 2007, and it was ran in Max4, and it grew over the years. I don't know whether anyone is actually or has been using MaxScore in the past, but you will see that this version has some new features, which I think you will, some of you will welcome. And so James and I were going to mainly talk about these new features. And so I have a little overview here of what we're going to do today. So after a short introduction and overview, we're going to talk about the installation of MaxScore and LiveScore, and then go on to show you our new documentation and tutorials and how it's going to be now, how it's all embedded in the Max reference. And then we're going to show you the how you can do the first steps with MaxScore. We have also an updated overview patch with that link to help files and dictionary, and a lot of things have been updated. We also have a new color scheme, thanks to our communication designer, Janina Luko. And then I will show you some of the unique features of MaxScore, which set it apart from other notation programs, whether in Max or generally. Then we're going to talk a little bit about microtonality, which is also some of the things that MaxScore was built for in the first place, but not entirely, but it's also one of its main areas. We're going to talk about subdivisions and various ways to enter microtonal music and play it back, and also want to talk a little bit about just intonation, which is of course also a hot topic these days. We're going to talk about the plugin structure that comes with MaxScore. It's called Scorpions. It's very easy to expand MaxScore. You just simply have to create a Max patch and put it in a particular folder, and if you want certain functionality. So it's really, really easy to expand MaxScore if you're a Max programmer. Then we're going to talk about Pixter. Pixter is I would say an extension of MaxScore, which enables graphics. And we also have worked on, James and I, on something called Expressions. Expressions is it's code embedded in graphics that can control MaxScore, the Max environment, and even the entire operating system if you want to. It can interface with other computers on the internet, on the local network. So it's a very flexible standard, and I will show you a few applications of that. Then we're also going to talk a little bit about SVG export and printing. SVG is the basically the drawing standard behind the scenes. I'm also going to elaborate in this in context of our draw socket implementation and how we also are capable of outputting our notation to jitter matrices and enabling video processing of MaxScore scores. Then we also have a variant of MaxScore for Ableton Live called LiveScore, and this also has been updated. And one of the expressions that we have also works in Live, and it enables automation from within a MaxScore. And here, this is also something that I'm very keen about. I like it when software talks to each other, and so we have compatibility to other software solutions is a big issue. So we have music XML import thanks to John McCallum, who recently did a beautiful music XML importer. Then we have compatibility with the decibel score player. We have Bach to MaxScore translation, and we also can talk about talk to the Contambra library, which is a large library of sound bank with I think more than 80,000 sampled sounds. It's something that appeals to a lot of yeah, what shall I say? It appeals to a lot of contemporary composers these days. Yeah, so, and then by the very end of this presentation, James is going to give an outlook on the future of MaxScore. I don't want to say more on that, but I think we're ready to jump right in. And we are going to, I'm going to now go back to the overview. That is the short introduction. So I'm going to move this out of to the other screen and go to Max. Okay, so James, are you there?
Yes, of course.
So would you like to give a little tour of the new documentation?
Sure.
And I'm going to stop.
Share my screen.
Share my screen. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So in the newest version of MaxScore 2.0, we have included the documentation, like finally. So now we have a list of topics that we would like to talk about for the usage of MaxScore. For example, there are quite some chapters about MaxScore Editor. Here you get the basic usages or the first steps, like how to create a score, what is what, like how to use this sidebar panels, what kind of views are there, and so on. Yeah. Yeah, so basically in the editor, right. Okay. You access MaxScore from the right-click menu here, paste from MaxScore Editor, and you'll get that. And basically everything for MaxScore will be available from the editor, which is a GUI which we developed. Yeah, so that's the editor. For example, you can have a new score and add notes and so on. So we'll talk about these other functions inside later. Yeah, and in the documentation, you'll see many things, like how to use graphics inside MaxScore, which we'll all talk about later. There's this API, which is a very important function of MaxScore, which being a musical notation program inside Max, it's important to have the flexibility to talk with it. So yeah, MaxScore supports a variety of messages, such as to change the font and to add a new score, to add notes with simple Max messages. So, right. Is there something I should specifically talk about, Joe?
I think, let me see, I guess we were, I think we're going to
we'll cover that.
We're going to cover most of that today, so I don't think we have to tell more right now. I think I want to quickly mention the fact that MaxScore is based on, as James already said, it's an API, and it's based on GMSL, the Java Music Specification Language, mainly developed by Nick Ditkovsky. And since it's Java-based, Java needs to also be installed. And thanks to an effort by John McCallum, we were able to include the Java installer in the MaxScore installer. So in other words, if the installer detects that Java is missing from your operating system, you can install Java automatically. You don't have to go to the Java website. You don't have to fill out forms, and but you can do this immediately during the installation process, which is very convenient, and yeah, it saves a lot of time. So we're quite confident that this will make it easier for people in the future to use MaxScore. Of course, there are, I should also mention that, other solutions in Max or for Max, particularly the Bach project, which is a very strong and powerful environment. And so our goal was not to compete with Bach, but to create something that is complementary to that. So particularly graphics capabilities, being able to use plugins called Scorpions, by the way, and also the draw socket and SVG implementations are things that we that are quite unique. And so don't give up on Bach when you start using Max. I think they too both have their niches in the Max ecosystem. Now, I'd like to quickly talk about the staff styles. And so I'm going to go and create a new editor. And here's the editor. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new score, just the way James
Entschuldige, Georg, tust du noch Bildschirm teilen, weil ich sehe keinen Bildschirm. Ich sehe nur...
Sorry about that.
Danke.
So now you can all see my screen?
Ah, danke.
Okay, so so I just created a new instance of the MaxScore editor, and I have now opened its window and created a new score. And so I will show you now that there are 3 views. So we have the score view, which we can access by pressing Shift-1. We have the staff manager here, Shift-2, and the preferences, Shift-3. And so if we go back to the staff manager, you'll see we have a style menu here, and it has a bunch of styles. And these styles are maps, basically, that map between MaxScore's pitch information and the way it's these pitches are being displayed on the staffs. And we also support or include 4 different editors which feature their own graphical user interface. So these editors are a tablature editor, which is very versatile. You can adapt the tablature to any scordatura, even microtonal scordaturas, with uneven. I would eventually would also like to support just intonation guitar frets, but right now it's we're assuming that all strings that we have equal distances on the fretboard. So we have a clef designer, we have a Boll and Pierce chromatic notation editor, and we have a percussion notation editor. The other staff styles come without a graphical user interface. A bunch of them are designed to note for the notation of Boll and Pierce music, like notation for the Boll and Pierce tenor clarinet, which is a instrument-specific notation, the Boll and Pierce keyboard notation. We also have recently, ordered a Boll and Pierce contra clarinet as a large instrument. I think the only one in the ever built. And we also support various temperaments, just as such as 31 EDO, 19 EDO, 17 EDO, and this can be extended very easily. Same thing as with Scorpions, just create a max patch, save it into a particular folder, and off you go. Here are aliases, which are certain settings for these editors, which you find in this section. And down here, these are just divisions of the octave in case you still want to work in standard notation. So I'm just going to show you quickly some of these features. So I'm going to go to the Chromatic End Clef here. So I'm going to, what you see now is you see the interface for the GUI for the Boll and Pierce chromatic staff style. So we're going to set that and switch back to the notation style here. And so if I start entering music, this music is all in Boll and Pierce. You can verify this by checking this section here. If I click on the note here down there, you see you get the MIDI sense value. And so when we do playback in a minute, you will see that this all plays back in Boll and Pierce. So this is like a full, featured Boll and Pierce music editor, and the other question is what else is supported here in terms of. Then maybe I should also quickly show you the tablature tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the tablature tool here. I'm going to select the let's say a 10-string 41-tone guitar, and apply that. Go back to the editor and see here we have now the Boll and Pierce music. Also notated in terms of a guitar tablature. This is a unique tablature for a guitar. I think it's also a unique instrument that's only been built once. This is Melle Weiters, the guitarist from Amsterdam, owns this guitar. It's a 10-string 41-tone guitar, and we have worked with him on numerous occasions. And of course, when you write music in Boll and Pierce, and what does 41-tone have to do with Boll and Pierce? We can't go over that, but I'll tell you there's a link, and it's very interesting. If you're a composer, I'd love to have a discussion with you on that. But I can tell you also that I've been using his guitar in the ensemble in a piece for Bull and Pierce, and so I can also tell you a little more about that later. But anyway, so here we have all these features, tablature. There's also Clef Designer, which you can use to create your own user clefs, and percussion. The percussion notation also works accordingly. Right. So let's just go back and create a new score, and I would like to now introduce the entry tools. So there are a bunch of entry tools that we can use to enter music into in MaxScore. So one of them is the NTET entry. So it's an entry tool which allows me to enter music in equal temperament. So I basically just have to define a frame interval like this one, which like 1902 would be for the Bull and Pierce scale. If I have 13 intervals for dividing this frame, and then I also probably want to anchor that on the D below middle C, and I can just simply enter the music by clicking on these notes here. And also what I'd like to show you is that I can switch the view to another resolution, for instance, the Vishnegradsky notation, which I like a lot, which is ideal for 72 tone equal temperament. If I wish to view this also in the Vishnegradsky notation, I have to go to the staff view, change to Vishnegradsky, and then it'll show the music in the Vishnegradsky notation. So that's that, but also I'd like to show you the other entry tools. So this one is one that I'm particularly proud of. It's the Scala Browser. It contains a large database of nearly 4,700 scales, and it can be searched. So what I can do is I can first of all I get a display of all scales with the 12 steps per octave. So it's a bunch of scales, but I can also change that, and I just want to see how many scales with 17 steps we get. So it's also a lot of scales. Let's see, do we find a scale with 99 steps? There we go, and so forth. But I also would like to see, I know that, for instance, my colleague Manfred Starnke has once submitted a scale, and so I'm looking for Starnke, but here I have specified 99 steps where we won't be finding that scale because it has only 12. So in order to, we can also use the wildcard, and the wildcard for these number boxes is 0. So here it'll show the scale that Manfred Starnke has submitted, that he developed for his piece Parch Harp. And so this is the comment section that is contained in the Scala archive. I have to also say that we have included these scales, which are separate files, in a MySQL database, or that is the SQLite database that's supported by Max. And also I would like to thank James for his work helping with the creation of this database. So if you're interested, if you want to learn more about this, let me know, and I will explain how to use the database separately from the Scala browser. So that's another, of course, we can also enter some music here, and I can also just connect a playback device to it, so we can actually hear the music too. So what we need is a MaxScore make note here, and we're going to connect that, and we are going to get an instance of fluid synth. And now we need a MC Easy DAC. And we turn the audio on, and so we should be able to hear something if we enter the music here. Of course, we're not. We also need to pick an instrument. Can you hear me? Okay, great. All right. One last thing on microtones. I think it's also nice to hear some. Well, okay. There's one more entry tool, which I also should show you. Is when you can go here to the JI entry, and it contains a bunch of intervals in just intonation. These are the intervals that are supported in MaxScore. Not all intervals are supported, particularly the ones that feature 7 or 6 or 8 digit numbers, ratios, which from my perspective is insane. But I guess from a mathematical point of view, it's something that makes sense. I just want to show you, I want to open a file which contains most just intonation intervals, just intervals, common intervals, and you'll find that in the MaxScore folder under examples and scores. So you just open the file called common JI intervals, and this will show the intervals in the so-called extended Helmholtz-Ellis just intonation notation developed by Sabat and von Schweinitz. And I could probably talk for another hour on this. It's one of my favorite topics because it's a incredible, a very smart and clever way to encode harmonic relationships simply by the use of accidentals. So I can zoom up a little in case you can't see that well. You can see how quickly MaxScore zooms because it's all based on SVG, and so you can see here the just intonation accidentals used to encode harmonic relationships. And of course, we can also click on these notes, and then you will see hear the music. So now the next thing that we want to do is I want to open one of the help files because we'd like to hear some music. And for this, I'm just going to go to the tutorial and open the table of contents. And so we're going to go here to, let's see, Playback. And I'm going to open the tutorial patcher. And this is features another incarnation of MaxScore called MaxScore.iCanvas. As you can see, you can have a score right in your patcher window. And so audio is already turned on. So we're going to play a few minutes of this piece, which is a composition by Easley Blackwood in 23-tone equal temperament. And so we're going to just, without further ado, I'm just going to play this music.
Es hört man sehr schlecht. Du musst vielleicht Audiokarte Zoom Media Device wählen.
Okay, dann stoppe ich mal.
Maybe the music is playing through your mic.
Okay, let me check. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. It says share sound.
Aber im Max noch Zoom Media Device als Audiokarte wählen.
Aha, this could
In
be
Max
it.
Audio.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, correct. I'm going to go back. Hopefully this time it'll be clearer.
And you have to share a screen.
So now it doesn't play at all. That's always been
Share
a
screen.
problem.
Share screen.
Yeah, you're not sharing.
I'm not sharing. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Better now?
No.
It's better. A bit soft, but better.
Bisschen lauter vielleicht.
Jawohl,
Ja.
gut.
So I'm going to slowly fade out and hand over to James, who is going to talk about graphics and expressions.
Sure. Okay, I'll share my screen. Yeah. So we're in the editor again. So now, yeah, I'll talk about the graphics we offer. So it's all based on FCG really. Yeah. So enable this pixel mode. You press caps lock, and you'll see little red text on the corner. I don't know if you can see that, it's really small. But yeah, you can have different tools for drawing right on the canvas, on the score itself. First, you'll have to select something, of course, for the graphics to be attached to. In this case, we will have a note. Yeah, so we have a note of C. And let me press caps lock and you have that. Yeah, and then you'll have different tools by different numbers. Of course, these will be all mentioned in the documentation, in the Max reference. So you can always go there and look what's available. Okay. Yeah, for example, we have 2, which is rectangle. Now we can draw a rectangle around this node. For example, we can select it. When it's red, it's selected, and we can move it around, and so on. So for now, this rectangle is attached on the node. So if I copy that by pressing C, and for example, come here, press V, this will be also following that. So it's attached to the node. And of course, you can also edit it. You can still move it around or delete it by pressing delete. So this gives a quite flexible environment for you to have customizable graphics on your scores. And you can also develop different symbols. Yeah, for other shapes, we have the rounded rectangle. Number 4 would be an oval. Yeah, of course, like you can also have multiple graphics on the same nodes. Okay, now let's have something on this staff, on the measure. So it's not attached to the node, but to this highlighted area here of the staff. Yeah, for the arc, yeah, I would like to talk about this texture tool on the right. So in this panel, you have different options. For the arc, of course, is an arc like that. You can also like draw customizable slurs right here. But of course, you can have different options for the shapes too. For example, you can have different colors. Let's have a blue one. Have a nice sky blue like that. And let's have a pen size of 3, so it's thicker. And for the arc, you will have a special property that you can set, which is the angle of which the arc will display. So now you have something like that. Let's go on to the next shape, which is poly. It's a polygon. Let's have a line style of this, with dots, and have the color of green. Yeah. So to end the polygon, you will have to press Control. And now you have a nice dotted polygon right here. Oops. Yeah, whenever there's some bug, you may like click around. Things happen. Okay, let's have a little score. And yeah, number 7 will be freehand drawing. That's also quite nice if you just want to just draw around on the score. If you want to say, okay, it's a D and I want to draw a note like that, then you have that. Oops.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still in development, so sometimes there are bugs, but when you okay, it's not doing well. Anyway, we have the text. We have the text. Let's say we say text here. So it's text box for you to enter something. And actually it will perform a bit better. This text entry tool. If we say text right here, and you can also select the font you would like. For example, whatever, Monster out. Okay. And click here. Okay, something's happening with my editor right here. I guess I should reinitiate that. Right, okay, let's go back. Now it should work. Okay, let's have something again. Okay. What's the color is red? That's 30. Press that and say attach. Okay, right now we have that. Yeah, so that's the text tool. Of course, if we have already have some images to put there, it's supported. Yeah, just click on number 9, which is the image tool, and click on the canvas where you want to put there. And okay, for example, we have this meme here, and we can put it in the score. Yeah, one thing to mention would be to edit what you have here, which is quite important because, for example, if I want to resize this image, it is obviously too big for now. I can press E, and this dictionary editor will pop up, which is essentially what's inside our graphic, really. So we have this pixel element. What you want to change would be the transform, because we are going to resize that. Yeah, so we will have 0.2, 0.2 here. Right. Press U, and you will see it update. Of course, we can also edit any other elements like that. If we want to change the text, change the text. Okay. And press U, it changes. Yeah. Okay, let's have something. Let's have a rounded rectangle. You can also set the roundedness. Let's say 20. No, maybe 5. Yeah. So you have a rounded rectangle like that. In the editor, we can always change stuff. Of course, there's also opacity. This is essentially just SVG. If you're familiar with that, it's a JSON format of SVG, which is implemented in draw socket format. So you'll learn more about that in the next workshop. So here's field opacity. Of course, you can also change the color a bit. Let's have 180, for example, and close it, update. Now you have something that's half transparent. Right. Yeah. For the graphics, of course, you can have develop some custom expressions. What we call expressions is customizable messages you can attach to the graphics. For example, here on this note, it's useful when we play the note or when we click on something. Let's move them around. You would want something to be attached to the note because these graphics may have some semantic value, right? Like if I copy it around, I would like that every time when this when this picture is played, I would like a sound file to be played. So that could be achieved by an expression. So here are expression editors. These are the defaults, but like as with the stuff styles and entry tools and so on, you can always make your own custom expression editors. These are like the GUIs for some ready-made ones for you to try with. Okay, for the SF sound file editor, let's have some max default ones. I think there's one called Cherokee. yeah, it loads. So here, Cherokee, and yeah, for example, if we want to say Cherokee will be played every time this image is triggered, then we will write attach image, attach expression to shape, press set, and now you don't see it, but inside the image it contains the information or the expression that this of the sound file. Let's go to the editor, and you'll see that inside, okay, there's expression. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's clear things up. You can use the remove all message to remove everything that's attached to the selected item. Okay, let's have a create new shape from expression. So this is a functionality where you can, yeah, just create a shape without first creating some graphics in the first place. So for example, if we have this node, like that, if we have node selected and we have Cherokee set as the audio file, then yeah, we can create a shape like that. Select it first. Okay.
Shall I think it's probably working on my computer.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, maybe you can show that and I'll solve.
So I'll just have to load an audio file and I will show you the.
Yeah, you can also like load any audio file on your disk.
Maybe you can show in the meantime, you can show the tutorial file that you prepared, because this contains also a waveform.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so why don't you share your screen again, please?
Yes, okay, let's load the file. We have a score of, from the tutorial actually. Oh, there's something wrong, that's why it's not loading. Anyway, let's do this. And let's load tutorial file. So here you have a ready-made score. Yeah, we talk about expressions. We can have this. So this was the waveform I was talking about. Yeah. So here we have the Cherokee AIF2. So you'll see this waveform will play. It's a proportional on. So it's good. Yeah. All right. Did you hear the music? Am I sharing the audio? Maybe it's
very softly. It's very soft.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's have something like nylon guitar. Yeah, I was designing this to be something that is like an accompaniment. So this one is the digester picks to expression. Okay, let's stop that. Okay, for this digester texture expression, it allows messages to be sent to this instance of digester.
You quickly
yeah.
explain what that is, digester?
Yeah, that's something that we have newly included in the MaxScore installer, but it has been around for quite some time. Digester is a machine that will generate MIDI music info, like real time, depending on some parameters you set. Like, for example, you have pulse length, eventfulness, which is how many notes, how dense the music is. Event length, vector clarity, that's like how tightly it follows the meter. Harmonic clarity, it's how tightly the pitch follows the key, the scale, and how harmonic it is. I think this is developed by Georg based on something that Clarence Barlow did called the Autobus. So it's like a max version of this automatic music generation. So this can be quite useful for some scores. Like, for example, here I have a score of 1 line, but of course I can use digester as an automated accompaniment machine. So I don't have to really compose anything, but every time this score is played, the accompaniment will be different, but it will sound like nearly the same, or it's similar. It's never the same music. It's quite similar all the time. So with the right parameters, you'll hear, yeah, let me just play it back. Okay, so what happened was here, another instance of the digester expression is attached. So you have different parameters here. So I made some like flat notes here. And yeah, when I click on this, you hear that the accompaniment is a bit different. That's because I changed the pitch center and the tonic pitch. The tonic pitch should be an A flat. Right. Of course, we can have other settings as well. But we can try something else. With a quarter weight of something more, maybe less eventfulness and a longer pulse length, then will be not so fast. Right now. Okay. So right now we have this other digester instance. Yeah, so what happened was that when I click on this node, this graphical element is triggered, and inside is an expression. It's a lot of stuff. Okay, inside is an expression which denotes all the parameters that's for digester. And here it's parsed through MaxScore made nodes, routed to digester. So it's the dictionary is sent here, and with the dictator, it's sent to this instance of digester. And then all the MIDI information would be parsed and would be sent out from this machine to the player, to Fluidsynth, which is onto the second channel, which is nylon guitar. So that's why you're hearing that right now. It's from this machine over here, but the parameters are sent from the score here. Yeah. Okay, let me separate the windows so you'll see it change here. Let me play it again. Yeah, so this circle, I made this so that I can also show how to work with normal default expression.
I think you need to put turn button mode on.
Yeah.
Show that.
Going to the editor. Yeah, so with the default message, you can have like anything you want. So this is how you can send the normal message to the Max environment. For example, I have the color and 3 numbers over here inside the circle. Yeah, of course, with, as Georg mentioned, you can have button mode on. And with this mode, you will just click on that and it sends out the thing you want. Then we click on this. So this is like the off message at the end, and I turned it off. Okay. Yeah. For each of these circles, I have added a message of color and the 3 numbers. So you'll see here color. Yeah, those numbers will be sent here and parsed correctly, so it changes the color of this panel object. We can look at what happens when I click on the red circle. Right, so you can also control the Max environment with MaxScore inside. Like for example, when you play back your score, certain messages will be sent out to control your Arduino or anything, or like a LED lights in your room. That works. Yeah, so for example, if this number is connected to an DMX device, you can control lightings with the score like that. Yeah, and of course, there is the sound file. I think maybe some of you already noticed when I play the score, but it's a bit soft. Okay, let's turn it a bit up. So basically, sound files can be attached to, which can be quite useful. Maybe play it again. So you'll hear all the accompaniment, and you'll see the circle changing its color, and you'll see this. You'll hear the sound files. Okay. It's obviously bad music, but I hope you like how it works. Yeah. Shall I pass it back to Georg?
Okay, thank you, James. Just gonna share my screen again and demonstrate that these shapes that James was trying to show on his computer actually work. I don't know. Sometimes there's something like a fluke that prevents things to be drawn correctly. In those cases, you know, you all know Max. Sometimes you just have to reinstantiate the object, or the worst case, just restart Max, and then often things will resolve themselves.
I
You can
forgot
see,
about
yeah.
the pen tool. I forgot about like the path and also hairpins and brackets.
Right, hairpins and brackets. Right. So okay, let's do that. Let's try a hairpin. I think for this you have to press H, and then you can draw a hairpin that needs to be attached to something. Right now, I tried to draw this hairpin without this being attached to anything. So that's why it's not showing after you complete your mouse action. So if we select this measure and try again, it will see that the shape will actually stick, right? And now we have a dotted hairpin, and brackets can also be drawn the same way. So that's these are tools that will enrich your scores. And talking about enriching scores, and also even enabling scores. This can all happen in now in Ableton Live. So as far as I understand, MaxScore is, or LiveScore, that is the only music editor in Live. So I'm going to quickly give you a demo of that. So most of you, of course, already know Live and have probably also used it extensively. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the user library, going to create an instance of the LiveScore editor, which looks very similar to MaxScore. It's MaxScore sibling or twin, shall I say, maybe, but it also has some added functionality which the MaxScore editor lacks, mainly taking care of the communication between the Max patch and its host. And we also want to create an instance of the LiveScore hub, which is necessary in case we want to communicate with a particular tracks. Let me explain to you. LiveScore is a, so to speak, a multi-track device. And if you want to communicate with a particular track, if you want to fan out the information that LiveScore generates, you need to have a LiveScore hub to receive and process the information generated and sent out by the LiveScore editor. So here we're going to create a new score. Actually, I'd also like to create a new audio device. We're going to use Afraid of Bees. And so I'm going to go back to the editor, create a new score, and we're going to create a few events. And now I'm going to create an expression which is specific to Live. It's going to open the Live expression editor, and I'm going to update the devices. Here it says Afraid of Bees, and we're going to control the, let's see which one, the offset parameter. We're going to use the measure duration. So if we set this to measure duration, the automation will have the duration of this measure, which is 2 seconds. As you can see, I already set 2 seconds here in this function objects display. And so we're going to attach this shape to this particular node. And if we click on button mode, you can see, like it's hard to say, I'm going to move this a window a little more to the right and look at this parameter there. So I'll click on that again. but of course, you probably won't use button mode much in Ableton Live. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to turn playback on. And see again, so look at the offset parameter. And I'm going to turn.
Man hört nichts, gell?
No, I haven't. I didn't. I'm not using a audio playback device. This is just purely to show you how to control a parameter in Live.
Okay, schön.
I could also, of course, attach a playback device, but that's not what this is all about. So that's that is to show you how to control, do automation from within a score in LiveScore. And so what we also could do, something else that is maybe of relevance here, is another device called LiveScore. LiveScore Viewer. I'm going to drop that in here. And so I'm going to create a clip once again without sound generation. I'm going to create a few clips, and I'm going to switch the view. As you can see here, it already is displaying the music. It's also as you can see here, you have a cursor that this measure is looping here, and the cursor is running across that measure. So it's tightly integrated into Ableton Live. You can create another clip. Some polyphonic music, or with overlapping events. Let's switch back to the other view. And so as you can see, what is that you have, of course, some of the events here look different from how it's displayed here. But make no mistake, there's another parameter in MaxScore, which is called the hold parameter, which encapsulates the overlap. So in other words, while this display is seemingly shortening the length of the first note here, the hold parameter actually extends over that note. And this is also what makes it possible for me to manipulate these note lists. So for instance, now I transpose this up an octave, and I can see now this also went up an octave here. But I can move it back down by maybe like a minor third. You can see now, no, it's actually major third. Now it went also down by a major third. So you have a tight integration of the MaxScore viewer in Ableton Live, and you can also do a bunch of things. There's a bunch of shortcuts you could use for editing here. These are the shortcuts. So this could also be used as a lightweight editor, music editor, and it will immediately update the note list or the clip here to use the Ableton Live terminology. So that's Ableton Live. And the next chapter will be on draw socket. Of course, only the part that pertains to MaxScore, and the compatibility between different software solutions. So I'm going to quit live now. And go back to, I'm going to open a help file now. And this help file I can get by creating a instance of, let me see, it's, oh, that's interesting. It's refusing to show. This is not MaxScore screwing up, but rather its host, because it's not showing the content here of these. So that's interesting. So I just have to use a different way now. I cannot access the content of the menus. So demo effect, but fortunately we have other options. So I'm going to go here to the overview. I'm going to click directly on bcanvas. Which brings up the help file. And so this canvas we call bcanvas because it's actually a bpatcher that lives inside of a MaxPatcher window, communicates here with a MaxScore abstraction, which is a wrapper around this object here, which implements GMSL in Max. So there are a bunch of interesting features. For instance, I would like to quickly show you our cursors. So you can have also blank pages like this. You can basically use MaxScore as a graphics editor. So why don't we do that? And we can also create cursors and make them run across the page. Just we can have as many cursors as we want. And so for instance, this one will, and then I will run 3 times across the first 2 measures. And then I'm going to start another cursor, which has a countdown, and will also start running when it's time for that. So these cursors, and I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna hide one of the cursors, and I'm gonna make, let me see, if I have hit that, I can make it blink, but it's now blinking behind the other one. So what I'm gonna start the second cursor very quick, and I'm going to stop that. And then now I can make it blink, which then you can use that in your performance to alert musicians that something will happen soon. So this is a way to create interaction between scores and musicians. So it facilitates certain types of interaction. We can also use just non-linear scores by using cursors. You can always just jump to a particular measure, start the cursor, and have the musicians follow the movement of the cursor. So I'm going to stop this blinking now and go to the next page. We already talked about Pixter. So I'll skip that. So I'm going to go here to draw socket. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the draw socket server. And Rama will talk about that a little more, so I won't go too deep into that. But I can, here I have a JS MaxScore.store object. We can store scores. We can actually store a bunch of scores in this object and use the patter attribute system, the patter system, to recall these scores. So that's might be quite useful. So what I'm going to do is this score is already in something called proportional notation. So I can start scrolling the score. So that's a different way to interact with scores. And I'm going to stop, I'm going to rewind, and I'm going to start again and stop and resume and stop. And I'm going to offset this by a few seconds or go back to the beginning. I can now also view the score in a browser. I can actually do this online as well. Let me see, I think I'm going to not use Safari for that. I'm going to use Chrome. And I will type in my address, which is localhost. And I can also have an instance number. And it's connecting to my score now. So let me see, maybe I can move this window next to it like that. And I can now start scrolling. So you can see now the score also scrolls in the browser. I'm going to rewind. And what I can do, also I can have another instance here, plus local host, and this local host will have the instance number 2. And so you won't see anything until you actually decide to split the score into staff groups. So what I can do is I can do this here. I can have staff groups parts, which now splits the score into 2 parts, each part for a specific player that plays on the internet or the local network. And so you can go back to the instance number 1, and we'll see this part, the top part, which is also being viewed here. But here we can also see the bottom part. And so we can start both parts by sending the scroll start message like that. Stop and resume. Stop and rewind, I was going to do. So I can now get back to the score view by pressing staff group score. And here we go. Okay, so one more thing. I think we only have 2 more minutes left, so I'm going to hurry it up. So in Jitter, I can also show proportional scores. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new score that is, actually, this is even fancier. Click for graphical notation, turn this on, double click. I can make look. I can view this now as a circular score, which I can display on the membrane of one of Jakob Zello's fancy instruments called Hexenkessel and Hexenkesselchen. And if I start this scrolling, it looks like that. So this is now Jitter, and it uses a transformation, OpenGL, to create a circular display of this score. So don't tell me it's not useful. Okay, so one last thing before we finish for today, compatibility. And for this, actually I have prepared something. So we have the contemporary playback. Let's see. We're going to quickly show you. When is Rama's workshop starting?
11:15, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Quarter 2. So give me three more minutes. John, is that okay with you?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. And we'll just quickly show you how we interact with Contemporary. So I'm going to delete the MaxScore fluid synth and instead create an instance of MaxScore Contemporary, which looks very similar. Contemporary communicates with we don't need this easy DAC because the sound generation happens in the E player. So this is the E player. So what I'm going to do is I've already loaded a bank here, but I can also do the same thing. I can load a bank. And then I'm going to load the orchestra file, which takes a minute. Yeah, it's a large file. several megabytes of data. And so MaxScore is also capable of opening these files. As you can see now, they are a number of instruments that can be then controlled via the MaxScore Editor. So I here have for the first track, I have a double bass and piano, which I can switch. And what would I do in this particular case? I would create a new note, and I would go to Pixel Expressions, and I would use the default expression editor, and I would type instrument and the name of that particular instrument, which is 001 contrabass pizzicato and attach this to the note here. And so I can, let me see, probably play this back. Hopefully this will work. Can someone hear? I'm going to transpose this a little lower. Can you hear that? Yes. Okay, great.
It's good.
Okay, so this would then set this to a contrabass pizzicato. And I could have another note. Let's see, let's double the length of this. And this note would then could be the clavier ordinario on the pedal. So I think I'm just going to delete this and create a new one, new message clavier, oops, lowercase clavier dot ordinario dot, gotta check that again, ohne pedal. Ohne, I think there's a space here, pedal. Just to be sure, that's the one thing that's missing. It's not capable of guessing what you're trying to do if you make a mistake. So we're going to create that as well. And now we could play this. Okay. Let me see, first send this message by turning button mode on. So, or just simply turn playback on, and then you will see what happens. Wait. Okay, so obviously there is a, this needs to be connected to the second outlet. And so let's give it another try. Yes. Okay, well, this should have also played. Okay, let's try it again. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. Wonderful. And one very last thing, compatibility with Bach. You can open the let's see here, Bach to MaxScore. If you're into using Bach, you can see here, this is a Bach score file. We can also use Bach roll files and turn that back to proportional notation by clicking on this toggle here. And you can see, I'm gonna use the enharmonic equivalent of that. So then you will see that this display is pretty much the same as this one here. So this is an all-in-one solution, so to speak. Whereas here you have separate objects. Of course, editing is a little different here, but anyway, if you're really interested in compatibility, then this would be the way to go. So we support MaxScore slots, a bunch of them, not all of them, but the majority.
Hey, Georg, I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap up to make sure that Rama has enough time to get set up before the next, since we're using the same link.
Yeah.
So,
okay, great. Then I think we're going to stop here. And so I'm available for discussion. Let me see, what would be good idea? You could contact me via either email or Slack, or even the HOVA communicator.
Yeah,
okay.
we have excuse me, we have a Q&A section on HOVA, so can just write there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Then why don't we do that? And I thank you all for listening. And I hope to see you soon, talk to you soon, and maybe some of you will actually be enticed to keep working with this environment. Okay, so see ya.